This is what it means to do the right thing when it really matters.
Yeah, we got a non-compliant one here at the Micron plant. And we got security all over. Because this guy won't let us put a laser to his head. They've called the backup and the reinforcements, and everyone's standing around trying to figure out, what are we going to do with this guy? There's the truck, there's the machine that would unload me right now. Oh, we got more security officers. So 1, 2, 3. There's one getting in his door right there. Right there in the passenger seat, or maybe that's the driver's seat. It's reversed because of the mirror effect. All because this guy won't let us put the laser to his forehead. And they all know that it has nothing to do with actual sickness or disease, confining a disease. Everyone here knows that. Everyone here involved in this knows that it's not about a disease or confinement thereof. It's about control and authority. And like it says on A Bug's Life about these ants, these grasshoppers say we need to keep these ants in line because they outnumber us 1,000 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. And it's not about the food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's what it's about right now. It's not about delivering that load. It's not even about taking his temperature. It's about making sure that everyone that witnessed this experience knows, you little peons, you stay in line. And there is no negotiation. You do it our way. You let us take it to whatever part of your body we want, whatever device we use. And that's the name of the game. And I've been here for 20 minutes, them trying to figure out how they're going to either tell this driver, okay, have some other driver bring it back who's willing to let us do whatever we want in the name of security, in the name of security, COVID security. Today's threat level is at orange, so we need to do the double test. Maybe come back tomorrow and the threat level will have gone down. See what I'm saying? They're implementing their whole new set of laws. And there's Deputy Dog and his reinforcements right there trying to figure out, well, how are we going to do this? Are we going to unload him on that side of the fence? Because he's not allowed on the property. As you can see, I'm right here in the gate. And when he tried to hand me a mask and take my temperature with a laser to my forehead, I offered him the wrist, telling him it works just as well. The veins are closer to the surface and you can actually get a more accurate temperature reading using the wrist. He said he called up to the offices and they say, no go. You're not going to be admitted if you don't let us take the temperature on your forehead. Here we are 20 minutes later. That guy's from Ezark, the company who I'm delivering the load for, to Micron. Ezark is in Utah. It's only 5 hours away. I'll turn this truck around and drive it back 5 hours, same way I came. And so they're trying to figure out, what are we going to do? Are we going to just say, okay, we'll take the temperature on your wrist and move on so we can unload this load? Hell no! It's about compliance, and you're not going to get your way with us. Are they willing to put their money where their mouth is? Absolutely. It's not about making money. It's about authority and power and exercising their power over you. So, I watched the security guard in the blue shirt put the thermometer up to his wrist to see if it came out with the same reading as it does on his forehead. The answer is yes, it works the same. Will they let me in? No, because it's not about taking your temperature. It's not about controlling a disease. It's about controlling your behavior. Behavior modification program that we're in the midst of. And it would be contrary to our objectives. We would be undermining our own purposes and objectives if we let you engage in whatever behavior you want. It's not about controlling a disease or taking your temperature. It's about the complianceocracy, as I've described in California. A meritocracy is where people are promoted based on their merit of what they can perform, contribute, create, and produce. A complianceocracy is where people are rewarded and promoted according to their ability to comply and force others into compliance. They get rewarded and promoted if they can force compliance out of other people. These security guards are probably happy to finally see somebody standing up for what's real and true and retaining what we have left of our human dignity and the life as we have known it, you're welcome. I hope more of you join me and decide when and where it's worth it to you to put your money where your mouth is. Because I'm ready to turn this truck around. I'll drive it back to Utah, and they'll have to make sure next time they order a load, they're going to have to make sure the driver knows you have to be COVID compliant with whatever regulations, protocols, and procedures we have in place that day, because this is Micron law around here, corporate law. We don't care what the government says. We are the law here at Micron. If we say bend over, you bend over. And in order to get this load, you're going to have to sign on. You're going to have to get COVID compliant drivers and non-COVID compliant drivers, and companies like Micron that want to maintain absolute unanimous conformity to the consensus. Unanimous conformity to the consensus is their goal. That's why they cannot let one driver out of line, and they are willing to bring the whole show to a stop. He's sitting there watching me rant. He just turned back around. He can see that I'm filming and ranting. That's why they're willing to bring the whole show to a stop, cost themselves the price of this load, because it's not about making money. It's about compliance. And they want unanimity. They want it unanimous. Everyone, not a single person who doesn't conform to the consensus. That this is just what we do. That's how everyone does it. Like on the movie Rango on Tuesday when they all go to get their water. Sorry, that was a bit of an obscure side note reference. But that's what's going on here. So, maybe I'll hit pause. There's a guy over there hiding behind the pole. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a piece of machinery sitting still. So this is all bringing their show to a grinding halt, because I won't let them put the laser to my head. And they could have just let the show carry on by putting the laser to my wrist. But it's about compliance, not temperature.
Watch. This security guard goes over and tells this guy, put your mask on. And he does it. We're no longer in that situation because of a few good men and women. And I'm going to show you that Vanessa VA is one of those that are on the right team, on the right side of history, willing to do the right thing when it really matters. And it is those few people that were willing to do that are the reason we are no longer in the situation you're about to witness, where this security guard walks over and tells this guy to put your mask on when he's going into or coming out of the outhouse, and the guy complies.
Not disease. It's about compliance. He just told that guy, put on your mask, and that guy said, okay, oh, I will. Unbelievable. So they still got everyone over there on the phone listening to what this guy over here with the blue hard hat on. Oh, apparently he's getting the word. He's getting the word from on high, and they're all bowing their head. The authority must be coming through the voice right there on the phone, and they're all worshiping and praise and listening attentively to what the authorities say. This guy with the blue hard hat, oh, we must have the official answer now from the official authorities. Survey says it's about compliance, conformity, and behavior modification. Send him away. Just so that everyone that stood around and watched this, and it's about inconvenience, making it more inconvenient for you. Yes, it's all voluntary. Making it inconvenient is how they get you to volunteer. Here we go. Let's see what the answer is. We're going to see what the answer is. I figured they were all going to come talk to me. They all walked right past me. So 2 of the construction guys walked right there. 2 of the security guys walked over.
Notice there's another security guard truck. So there's this black undercover SUV security guard truck and the 2 pickups with the lights on top. 3 vehicles show up to swarm a guy like the COVID SWAT team for a company that has their own private security, replacing law enforcement as we know it. The corporatocracy of governance is in full effect.
Right here. Oh, they're breaking it up. What's the word, guys? No one's gonna tell me what's the word? What's the word, guys? They're like, shit, what do we do? I don't know. Let's go call up reinforcements. Let's get the COVID SWAT team on it. Call up the COVID SWAT team. Rolling out. Yeah, they must be going to get reinforcements and backup. Meanwhile, these two are about to tell me what they came up with. Let's see what we hear. Looks like Team Resistance won. That's the gate I was sitting in a minute ago, where he's locking up the gate over there. That's the gate they stopped me in. They're gonna unload me here in the dirt. Viva La Resistance! Like I said, nothing else matters is the tune you hear going that I better turn down real quick before I get hit for copyright strike.
Forever trust in who we are, and nothing else matters.
So those security guards that were all huddled up right here trying to figure out what to do with me are probably appreciative that there's a few of me left. They're like, wow, this is like a rare breed I heard went extinct in 2019. A free-range human? I haven't seen one of those in hell forever. I didn't even know they ever even existed. I thought they were a myth and a legend and that they never even really existed. Because once the history was rewritten, they wrote out the part that there was ever even such a thing as freedom. This guy is a remnant and a relic of the past, of the life that we all once knew before we just accommodated to the new normal. And these guys right here, probably breathing a sigh of relief and a breath of fresh air, knowing there's at least a couple still out there fighting the good fight, even though they haven't got it within them to do so at this time and place. Like it says, so afraid of what people might say, but that's okay, cause you're only human. You're so afraid of what people might say, but that's okay, soon you'll be strong enough. So afraid of what people might say, but that's okay, cause you're only human. So afraid of what people might say, you're gonna break, so please don't do it. It's the end of the world and we know it, know it, know it. That's Nelly Furtado, Afraid. Listen to it, the link is in the description. Cause I don't need a Rolex to know what the time is. I'm a leader, not a follower, and I'd rather be paid than popular. Ride, homie, get your dollars up. We in the belly of the beast that already swallowed us. It's the end of the world and we know it, know it, know it. Join in or sit on the sidelines. The consequences will be yours to bear. Regardless of what choice you choose or choose not to choose, that was your choice, is to choose not to.
Join in or sit on the sidelines. The consequences will be yours to bear. This will segue into Made in Montana. Another person who is going to burn in the lake of fire right next to her cowardice friend Mark. But we're going to talk about Vanessa VA, how she did the right thing when it really mattered. She was one of the resistance. And everything turned out just fine for her. We're also going to talk about the retrocausal language that Vanessa VA brings to the table, that I call muse messages. She's the only other one out there that hears the messages and puts herself out there as someone who hears the message. Other people say in the comment section things like, how come no one else can hear these messages in the music? So, sure, there's a couple other people that say things in the comment section. She's the only other one that puts out her understanding of the muse messages. She calls it retrocausal language, like something that's going to happen in the future essentially already happened. God rewound time and put these messages in the music on the lead up to that big event that's going to happen in the future that already happened. That's why she calls it retrocausal. That thing that's going to happen in the future is what caused these messages in the past leading up to that moment to be embedded in the music. And I can show you how the same thing happened in my life. Because of the great reset that was going to happen 3 years later, I was put through a training course, a crash course in which I ended up sitting in the driveway of Casey Kidd telling you about this reset and how to make it through it, to get rid of your fear and embrace love. The only way you can be in love is to not be in fear. The two cannot coincide in your heart at the same time. So you must burn out those fears. That retrocausal language, that retrocausality, could also be the reason Doug evicted me when he did, because what was coming in the near future caused him to evict me. And as you can see, like it says in Star Wars, strike me down and I will become even more powerful. That is what has happened since. And the crescendo event where we all got to go our separate ways was coming in the near future. So it caused Doug a couple months earlier to evict me and separate us from one another. So I have no more ties to this world when it's time to go our separate ways. That's what retrocausality is. Something in the future causes something in the past to happen. And this is what Vanessa VA refers to the muse messages as, a retrocausal language, telling you what's coming in the future, like it already happened, and God rewound time and inserted those messages in the music for you. We're going to go over a song called by Awolnation that talks about the solar flares coming in a weather report called Like People Like Plastic, and also the song This Kid Ain't All Right by Awolnation, who is obviously one of these bands that inserts a lot of these messages about what is coming in the future. We're going to talk about Vanessa VA here in just a moment. In this video that I'm recapping, Viva La Resistance, 3 military vehicle fires this week in Utah. In this video, I start to refer to Vanessa, and we will expand the conversation from there.
Choose. Sit on the sideline, wait and see which way it goes, and once the dust settles, pop up and say, "That's my side." Yeah, there's like 5 gangs. I was in all of them. Whichever one's winning, that's my side. That shit ain't gonna cut it. We know who you are. And those people that pop up at the last minute when the dust settles and say, "I was with you the whole time," I never knew you.
That, I Never Knew You, is a song by David Gray called Say Hello, Wave Goodbye, where the chorus says, "I never knew you, you never knew me, say hello, goodbye." It's directly referencing a quote from the Bible where God will say, "I never knew you, depart from me, go away," to the people who say, "Oh no, we preached in your name, we preached in your name." I never knew you, you never knew me, say hello, goodbye. And the song, Say Hello, Wave Goodbye by David Gray, all the lyrics in it are referring to this great departure where we go our separate ways. Standing at the docks, the pink flamingo crying in the rain. Those pink flamingos are... Those pink flamingos that are going to be standing at the dock crying in the rain when they see God's face for the first time and have to say hello and wave goodbye all at once. Those pink flamingos are the Joel Osteen types that were real flashy and showy with their plumage and baubles about how holy they are. Talk more about that, but I will leave the link in the description to David Gray, Hello, Goodbye.
Some bonus gravy.
Bonus gravy?
Link is in the description. 3 military vehicles caught on fire in the last week in Utah. One of them happened to be in Evanston, Wyoming, right on the border. Evanston only goes from exit 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3 miles into the state of Wyoming. So they're counting this as 3 military vehicles in Utah that started on fire over the last week. I'll bet you I can tell you where they started on fire from. The engine compartment. where the densest metal is that draws the most microwave energy. I haven't looked into it too far yet. I'm going to include that link in the description along with a timestamp where you can go straight to that part where this guy covers the part about how there's been 3 military vehicles in the last week that lit on fire in Utah, and they're blaming it on a record temperature wave, heat wave. Note here, the United States had an amphibious carrier.
A record what? A record temperature heat wave? Oh, you mean like the song by Glass Animals, Heat Wave's Been Freaking Me Out. Link will be in the description.
Craft that does the island hopping. It can go on land and then back into water and then up on land and then back into water. Amphibious assault vehicle. Goes on water or land. We have them. China has them. China had one burn in port for 5 days straight. There's nothing on those things that can burn. The metal itself is what was burning for 5 days straight in port in China to one of their amphibious assault vehicles. A month later, we have the same thing happen. Amphibious assault vehicle burned for 5 days straight in port. That's directed energy weapons, a back and forth. On that note, another link in the description will talk about how we retaliated against Iran. But for what, you might ask? The guy in the video linked in the description implies that it's for the condo that got collapsed in Florida, which anyone who's looking into that can see that there was some controlled demolition there. Or directed energy weapons, something of the likes. So this guy, Florida Maquis, claims that this strike that we did in retaliation in Iran, we sent our F-15s and F-14s in to hit militant locations. Not their military, but their militias. You know, a little ragtag band of terrorists that are holed up here and there. So did we actually strike Iran and Iran's military or militias? Either way, Florida Maquis says it's retaliation and retribution for that condo that got felled in Florida. So there's 2 links in the description, some bonus gravy. And as far as this goes, I got some major gravy coming up in the next couple of videos, so I'll just wait until then and try and wrap this up. Last time I was at a place where they said you gotta wear a mask, and I said I'm not wearing a mask, and they said, well, you tell the guy standing next to my truck trying to kind of talk me into it and say, well, it's only like 2 minutes. You just got to go in there and sign in and sign out. I said, well, you can bring the paperwork out to me. Well, no, you got to go check in and check out.
So what this is indicating is that this was a regular, routine occurrence that we had to go through, that we no longer go through. We're no longer in this state of affairs where that security guard is walking up to the guy who took his mask off for 2 seconds while he's in the outhouse and saying, get your mask back on, get your mask back on. We're no longer in that state of affairs because of people like me and Vanessa and a few others that were willing to do the right thing when it really matters. And when you receive your calling, rise to the occasion. Remember, that's the point, the thread of understanding that's running through this whole video, and we're going to get to Made in Montana, who also received the notification from Flathead County Sheriff asking anyone for information regarding those fires, and she too did not rise to the occasion, and she too will burn in the lake of fire with the rest of the cowards. And I use these people as a landmark, like a point of reference. So, like James True said in his video, You're All Freemasons Now, where he was talking to this guy and said, I'm going to take you down, buddy, because when I do, there's going to be other people watching that see how foolish you looked for thinking you knew something. Well, in this case, I'm going to take you down, buddy, because when I do, there's people watching that are going to see how cowardice you looked and the burn of that vitriol that you felt. When I put a little heat in your face, that's what I'm here for. A lyric from Burn It Down by Awolnation. And when their moment arises for them to shine and rise to the occasion instead of shrinking away like a coward because they saw what the consequences are, they will rise to the occasion and shine. That's the purpose for calling people out, using them like a landmarker of a reference point to help others navigate this environmental terrain, to know you don't want to be that guy, don't go that direction, go the other direction when you come to that crossroads.
Eventually the guy said, well, since you don't care, I'll just check you in on the computer and check you out, since you don't care what time it is. And then you got checked in and checked out. I said, okay. And eventually, on my way out of there, the guy who was kind of trying to hassle me and talk me into it, and he's like, dude, I think it's all crap too, and I can't wait for all this to be over. I explained to him that most places have a secondary option and a secondary program for truckers like myself. He's like, well, we don't have that yet. I'm like, well, I'm helping them establish that secondary option for truckers like myself. And hopefully I don't know if I said this to him, that hopefully eventually they'll have a secondary option for the employees as well. But he knew, he understands, I'm the thin blue line between total tyranny and the freedom you once enjoyed. And other people like me who choose. Glenn Beck gave a good statement one time, said that in history people don't choose to become heroes. They choose not to follow the lemmings over the cliff. When the lemmings are acting so stupid and crazy, someone can just see that you're acting stupid and crazy and I'm just not going to do what you're doing. And we call those people heroes in history, but in the moment, they're not heroes, they're just not idiots. And a lot of people, they're not idiots, they're just not strong enough. Soon you'll be strong enough. You're so afraid of what people might say, but that's okay, because you're only human. So afraid of what people might say, that's okay, soon you'll be strong enough. Nelly Furtado, Afraid. Link is in the description. So at this other place, that's the first time anyone's refused to take the wrist temperature. Anytime someone busts out one of those lasers I hand on my wrist, they already know the drill. They take it on my wrist, we move on. This guy, I put out my hand, and he puts the thing in my hand like I'm trying to get him to hand it to him. I was like, no, you take the temperature on my wrist. He's like, no, it was like Idiocracy. We have a particular individual here who's a particular individual. Pretend this particular individual won't take the particular individual laser to the particular individual's forehead. He says, this is what we're trained to do. I said, I know, but there's a second way of taking the temperature, and if you just ask them, they'll say that that's okay, it's authorized. Okay, fine. He spends 15 minutes on the phone, comes back to me and says, no go. You're not admitted unless we take the temperature on your forehead. I said, well, then you'll have to get another driver to deliver this load then, I guess. That's when the other guy from Ezard comes up, and I told him the same thing. He's like, well, calm down. I'm going to see if maybe we can just get you offloaded right over there. Oops. Literally, right there, on this side of that fence. Instead of inside that fence, which is technically on the Micron compound, they wouldn't even let me pull in. I was already halfway in that gate, but instead of pulling in and circling around right here and turning around, I had to back out. Because I'm not COVID compliant, I can't even go the rest of the way onto their property to turn around and come back out. It's ridiculous nonsense. It's the complianceocracy that I've described before, that I saw in California long before the COVID, and said that's why I don't go to California. This looks like it's like not quite pointed at me. Where people are rewarded and promoted in accordance with their ability to comply with regulation. And they're even given greater rewards and promotions if they can extract compliance from other people, like a security guard who can talk you into just putting the laser to your forehead. Complianceocracy as opposed to meritocracy, where people are promoted and rewarded according to their ability to contribute to society. In a complianceocracy, you're rewarded and promoted in accordance with your ability to submit to authority. And I remember saying, at least a few hundred times, we must become the authors of our own authority. I even prevented a home invasion robbery in Park City, and I went to the police 3 times drove up to them in person, gave them the description of the truck that was attempting a home invasion robbery, called them twice on the phone while in Park City to let them know this truck is attempting to con someone into letting them into their house. And as soon as they do, that person thinks it's not going to cost me anything to let you stay with me in my Airbnb, because 50% of the people in Park City are there in Airbnbs. Some fucking crackheads are up there in a $50,000 truck giving people a song and a dance and a story about how we tried to go sell this truck in Wyoming and we're from Nevada and we just need a hotel room overnight. When 30 minutes down the road, on your way back to Nevada in the direction that you're going in Salt Lake Valley, hotel rooms are $45 instead of $450 a night. You might want to try down there. This is a scam going on here. They're trying to get someone to let them stay the night at their house, and when they do, they will rob them. This is what I told the police. Understanding I am the author of my own authority in this case, because the police are powerless to do anything about it until this guy commits the act. I had that guy chasing me around fucking Park City, doing 75 miles an hour in a 45-mile zone. He was chasing me at those speeds. There's no question he was attempting to perform a home invasion robbery on every person that he kept going to with his song and dance and his poor me story. He came to me twice. The first time I said, I ain't got any money. Well, I don't want any money. I'm just looking for a place to stay. Well, I ain't got that either. The second time that he rolled up next to my window and I see it's the same dude, he goes, oh, never mind. He realizes he just ran the scam on me 5 minutes ago. How fucked up is this guy on meth? If you don't remember, that's the car we just tried it on 5 minutes ago. After he did that, God put me in the right place at the right time for the right reason. And I threw a wrench in his operation. Being the authors of our own authority is necessary. COVID has proven that there is some validity to that understanding, to that statement that I made a few hundred times. In the year prior to COVID, we must become the authors of our own authority. It takes on a whole new meaning in the... And I told that story about preventing that home invasion robbery a day or two before I went to Missouri. That is when that happened. And those words, be the author of your own authority, are words to live by. And people who were not the author of their own authority are now dead because of it. Myocarditis, pericarditis, and other such side effects of the Fauci miracle sauce. Because they took the authority's word for it and caved to peer pressure. Era of COVID, where the authorities are going to make you submit to a state of existence that's no longer even human. We must become the authors of our own authority. And when this guy asked, hey, can I get your name? The guy from Ozark, he's like, hey, can I get your name? Well, I got you right here. Yeah, Jeff Snyder, S-N-Y-D-E-R. And he's sitting there writing down my name like he's going to make a note of this problem driver. I'm thinking to myself, don't you mean my autograph? Don't you want my autograph? Yeah, living legend, the last of the free-range humans. But I know that in my efforts of putting a little resistance here and a little resistance there, that's all it takes. Because the other 10 people saw this guy ended up finding a way to make it through without wearing a mask and putting a laser to his forehead. With everything Logic Before Authority is presenting about the nose swabs and self-replicating hydrogel on that spongy bony tissue, that spongy bony material, the cartilage in your sinuses, you think I'm going to let them put a laser on my forehead? No. The guy on the other end of that laser doesn't even know what it does. Yeah, it may take your temperature. What else does it do? Idiocracy, man. Pure idiocracy. Don't know. I'm baiting. We got a particular individual here, non-compliant. The fact that it works as well on your wrist to take your temperature as it does on your forehead proves there's another reason they want to do it on your forehead. Whether it's behavioral modification to the complianceocracy, or something about that infrared laser that touches your pineal gland and activates whatever they put on the nose swabs, there is another reason besides taking your temperature. Otherwise, they would just take your temperature on your wrist. Call in the reinforcements. This world has changed so quickly. Those 3 military vehicles that caught fire are what fuels my fire to stand my ground on these other substances, on these other subjects. Because I know we're that close to the finish line that you're not going to get me to compromise my principles this close to the end game. And one of the things I said that I'm going to re-mention now is don't lie about taking the vax in order to avoid the hassle of the mask. It is completely contrary and undermines our own objectives. When you run around telling people you got the vax and you didn't, can you imagine 2 people standing there right next to each other? Oh yeah, I got the vax. How about you? Oh yeah, me too. And they're both lying to each other. In this information warfare, you are undermining our own objectives if you were to lie about getting the vax in order to avoid the hassle of the mask. So please don't do it.
You're going to break, so please don't do it. Some more Nelly Furtado, Afraid.
Okay, a couple quick news messages for the tail end of this. How much longer we got left? A few minutes. Will you hold the line when every one of them is giving up and giving in? Tell me, in this house of mine, where nothing ever happens without consequence or cause, tell me, will the stars align? Will heaven step in and save us from our sin? Tell me, is this house of mine stand strong? 'Cause that's the price you pay. Leave behind your heartache, cast away. Cast away. You mean like a seafaring, ocean, maritime terminology of a castaway? There's the maritime reference in that song. Natural by Imagine Dragons. There's more that we're going to go over on these muse messages because they're thick. But also in the song, Believer. Second thing second. Don't you tell me what you think that I can be. I'm the one at the sail. I'm the master of my sea. Oh. The sail. One at the sail. The master of my sea. Be the author of your own authority. We're going to go over some major muse messages. And when you see how thick this embedded subtext within the music and the music videos are, you can realize how big of a slap in the face it is to put out row, row, row your boat as an example, even if there is a truth drop in.
Matt from Quantum of Conscience. He mentioned Vanessa VA in nearly every video for, 6 months to a year. He mentioned her over and over and over and over and over and over and latched onto her like he was trying to sideline and distract. And he threw out, there's some truth drops in the song Row, Row, Row Your Boat. That's what I'm referencing here.
Row, row, row your boat. Is there a worse example that you could possibly think of? As a presentation to the first grade truther who's never heard of this, there isn't a worse example you could come up with. And when you recognize how much information is embedded within this music, within these music videos, you will see how big of a slap in the face it is to anyone who's invested their time, effort, energy, and resources into making this music, embedding the information between the lines. Anyone who knows just how rich the content is within these music videos and sees Matt referencing row, row, row your boat, knows it's a slap in the face and an attempt to misguide and mislead people into thinking that's an example of messages embedded within music in order that they will never reach the full rich well, the reservoir. He's going to give them a truth drop, and they will never satisfy that thirst for truth at the well of muse messages within music. Once they've come across Matt and presenting row, row, row your boat as an example where truth was embedded in music, they will never look any further and see all of the real truth embedded within music. They will stop right there and say this is so shallow and superficial and hollow and flimsy that it does not deserve any more of my attention. After I show you how thick and rich the embedded information within the music and the music videos is, you will be able to look at Row, Row, Row Your Boat and recognize there is not a worse example you could use to try to present and convey the idea to somebody that there is embedded information within the music, a subtext beneath the surface. There is not a worse example you could use. And he latched on to Vanessa for a
It's like Matt was trying to discredit the idea of muse messages the same way that Boogeyman is trying to discredit the idea of the Santilli telescope by giving you some bullshit example of it to make people think, oh, that's just some crazy crackpot shit there.
reason. He's out there to undermine that current of people that will start to recognize, I'm going to be able to show you that there is embedded information within these music videos, so much so you don't have to participate and try to stretch your mind or imagine a homophone being replaced with another word. The left brain, analytical, cynical, skeptical person will be able to see, well, yeah, obviously there's a secondary message there, a picture within the picture. And when it's so thick and abundant that even the person who's not trying to see it, it's shown as glaringly obvious to them, unavoidable, undeniable, it will become obvious. Row, row, row your boat is an intentional poison injection into the mind, into the psyche, into the conversation regarding these muse messages. Truth drops embedded within music. Row, row, row your boat. Bitch, please. What's a Nubian? Bitch, you almost made me laugh. I know you like these movie references, man.
That was from Chasing Amy.
But that's what that was. And that's why he latched onto Vanessa, because Vanessa's over there tapping into the muse messages, into the embedded information within the music. So he latches onto her and mentions her every video and keeps putting out row, row, row your boat. Do you see what this agent, this operative, what kind...
And I've exposed Matt as an agent and an operative before. And so has Chalk Body Outline. He was a international kidnapping insurance agent selling insurance to people that you won't get kidnapped by these international terrorists if you pay us a cut before you go. Otherwise, I can't promise the terrorists won't kidnap you. That is the most corrupt fucking agency or business a person could be in. There is no way that you can give someone insurance to not get kidnapped by the terrorists unless you're working with the terrorists. And that is also what was shown in that movie Rango that I alluded to. Welcome to Dirt, Waters on Wednesday, where the mayor was working with Jake the Snake to terrorize the people when they wouldn't sell their land. So Matt is a deep state agent that was selling international kidnapping insurance, like someone who came back from the Middle East that knows all of the cartels that run around there and who to pay off in order to get you clearance that you'll be able to pass through without getting kidnapped. Matt is an agent who went from some deep state dark black ops to psychological operations on the internet, latching on to Vanessa and associating himself with this understanding about messages in the music, and then putting out row, row, row your boat as the poison in the well to poison the stream of thought and make sure people don't catch on to what she's really caught on to. Vanessa VA did the right thing when it really mattered and quit her job. She might have even had to move because they were mandating the vax. Well, after she quit her job a few months later, talking to the old employees she used to work with, the company dropped the policy. They never enforced it. And they gave her job back. She came back later. And I'll bet the other employees look at her glaringly like, you little bitch. We had to go get the vax. No, you didn't. You chose to. No one was forced to do anything, and that is why you must become the author of your own authority and rise to the occasion when it's time to shine and do the right thing when it really matters, or you will regret it. Remember that when we get to Miss Montana, Made in Montana, another person who received the request from the sheriffs regarding information on these fires and chose to keep to herself. She will burn in the lake of hell with the rest of those cowards, just like the people in the office around Vanessa VA are burning up inside when they realize what they did and they don't know what it's going to do to them now, and she got away with not having to do it. Guaranteed they held such animosity and contempt and bitterness towards her because she reflects to them that which they once were but no longer are. These are the reflections, these sacred mirrors Greg Braden refers to. The 7 sacred mirrors, 2 of which are number 2 and 3. That which you once were but no longer are, so you hold a strong negative emotional charge towards those who still are that way. And that's what Vanessa reflects to them, that she's still a free-range human being like they once were but no longer are. That she can still stand her ground and stand up for what's right, something that they once were but no longer are. The third one is they reflect to you something that you once had, but you lost it, you gave it away, or had it taken from you. Their freedom, their free will, their courage, their free-range human being status. So it is not that person that you resent when you really don't mind someone or you like someone, but there's just something about them that bugs the hell out of you and you can't stand them. Oftentimes, it's reflecting to you something about yourself that you don't like. And guaranteed, Vanessa sits around in that office and these other office co-workers look at them and just hate her because it's that something about themselves that they can't stand that she reflects to them.
Kind of activity he's conducting as a psychological operation, as an inoculation to prevent other people from getting infected. When they come in contact with a full dose of this truth, they'll already have been inoculated with row, row, row your boat, and they will dismiss it. They will be unaffected by it. Just like an inoculation gives you a little piece, so that when you come in contact with a full dose, you're not affected by it the same way. He gives you a little piece of truth, so that when you come in contact with it, you think it's like, oh, more row, row, row your boat shit? Yeah, I've had enough of that.
And you become immune to the truth when you come in contact with it if you've been inoculated by his psychological operation of preconditioning by telling you that row, row, row your boat is a good example of messages embedded within the music. That guy is a psychological operation from beginning to end.
And just for those eager beavers that want to get ahead, instead of waiting for me to do the breakdown, the lyric that I sang, second thing second, don't you tell me what you think that I should be, I'm the one at the sail, I'm the master of my sea, is from the song called Believer, where he is in a battle with his future self. It shows his older self, 50 years old.
The retrocausal language that Vanessa is referring to is reflected in the videography there. A time loop, if you will.
Middle-aged self, 30 years old. Younger self, 10 years old. And he is in a battle, a boxing match, with his future self. And at one point during this boxing match, he says, I want to stop. And his future self says, we can't. And this is the retrocausal language Vanessa talks about a future event that has already happened, but is rippling back onto the past. I'm going to talk about how the only point in time that matters is that threshold where time travel has been discovered. Everything before then is fixed. Everything after that.
This is the original video that I made titled, Attention, Flathead County Sheriff Needs Your Help, regarding this request that they put out regarding all these fires. And here you can see a comment came in, that was 3 weeks ago, from Made in Montana. She says, a friend of mine sent me that police report. Crazy times here in Montana. That friend of yours, Made in Montana, was Mark. And for you to not include that is a lie of omission. First in line to Lake of Fire are the cowards, followed up by the liars. So here in my recent upload titled Mark is the New Tiger Dog, we have Made in Montana saying small-minded people talk about other people. You're not vibing very high no matter how much truth you spout. Oh, no matter how much truth you think you spout. So, gave her a few replies. Let's see what that is. 2 replies. 1, the original video where she comments so anyone else can see that that's the same person. And you're virtue signaling, mentally masturbating, stroking your own ego for a cheap thrill and a momentary shallow superficial sensation of satisfaction on your self-righteous high horse. Did it feel as good as you thought it would? That kind of behavior also comes with a consequence and cost, which means you will remain shallow, superficial, and experience nothing besides those momentary, temporary feelings of fleeting self-stimulation rather than becoming a truly moral and virtuous person. You don't even realize that in your comment, you are the small-minded person talking about another person rather than bigger things in this world like what I talk about. I talk about principles over personalities, ideals over idols, and a person's behavior as it relates to the larger context of the experience we are all going through together, which I am on the leading edge of. People's individual behavior serves as a landmark within this environmental terrain, like when James True said in the video I recently released with "You're all Freemasons now" in the title, he said, "I'm going to take you down, buddy, because when I do, other people will be watching and they will see how foolish you looked for thinking you know something. But in this case, they will see how cowardice Mark looked for not rising to the occasion when he had the opportunity. And they will then remember how bad it stung and hurt for Mark and not want to experience that same vitriol. And instead, they will put their nose to the grindstone and take action when they receive the call of duty. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, Made in Montana, who is surely associated with Mark. Go ahead. Deny that you're not affiliated with Mark. I dare you. I can see your prior comments like, a friend of yours sent you the same notice from the sheriff. In the original video I did, titled Flathead County Sheriff Needs Your Help, that friend was Mark. Say it ain't so, or shut the hell up and be honest with some full disclosure here in my comment section before you get blocked just like he did. And you speak from the same self-serving position as someone who did not go to the sheriffs and show them the truth. And you too will experience the same consequences as Mark. All of you cowards will burn in the lake of fire. That was from Mark is the New Tiger Dog, part 2 of 2. And in this one, titled Cowards Are the First in Line to the Lake of Fire, followed up by the Liars, we have... Oh, she already erased her comment. Her comment was, someone's ego is bruised, and I replied to her the same exact response as what we just read. And she has deleted that comment within the last hour or two. It is now 4:55 a.m. on Monday morning. She deleted that comment within the last hour or two. Like a coward running for the exits, rats on a sinking ship. All of you will burn. So, this is still there, and by the time I upload this video, she will probably have gotten to this comment as well, because she is frantically working to try to cover her tracks. But it's still there 8 hours ago. And I'll bet by the time you get this video, I get it uploaded, and you view this video, she will have erased that one as well. Appropriately so. Unless she wants to get blocked just like Mark, he shouldn't send his girlfriend in here to do his fighting for him. There's a reason I blocked him. He has the same energy as a stalker that I had named Alex Faber, who drove out here from Houma, Louisiana, and had his van break down in Springville and was stuck at the KOA in Springville for a week or two. After I rejected him, he became Syndrome from the movie The Incredibles, who turned into I'm your biggest fan, to I'm your worst enemy, and had gamma male syndrome. I blocked Mark over a year ago, around the same time that Alex Faber drove out here. I haven't said anything about Alex because he didn't deserve my time or your attention, and he was dangerous. There's a couple other stalkers I've had too. They match the same profile. Mark here is hurt, and he's lashing out. And I suggest you let him handle his own business, Miss Made in Montana. Lest you let him draw you into something for which there are consequences and cost. Okay, let's move on to a Muse message embedded in the song Like People Like Plastic by Awolnation. A lyric that says, I never felt so alone in my life, I stand alone beside you. He's referring to the spirit that he's in contact with, that he was screaming at the sky in the lyric prior to, and at 3 minutes 20 seconds, it has a weather report, followed by the words solar flash and solar flares repeated over and over and over. Link will be in the description. You will see that AWOL is telling you what's coming. I have told you on my way to Montana and since, there will be a giant solar flare, and either you can watch it go down from this level at ground level, or you can get lifted up. There will be no survivors according to their own provisions of beans, bullets, and bandages and their own Boy Scout skills that they brushed up on. There will be those who are saved and those who are not. And that is what is coming. What is depicted at 3 minutes 20 seconds in the weather report by AWOL. And now we're going to do This Kid's Not Alright by AWOL. Remember, Awolnation, people who are absent without leave. AWOL, nation is a group of people. And you definitely want to be part of that group of people when it's time to GTFO. Starts out saying, I still don't know what I'm doing. Fuck! Trouble's coming for the free man. Remember, this was put out 10 years ago. That trouble coming for the free man, referring to the COVID operation we are going through still to this day. So trouble's coming for the free man. We shake from shaking with the free hand. So stand tall and shout out with me. Do your dirty work without me, which is what that security guard should have said in that video we just went over where he told that other guy, put your mask on. He should have quit his job. Do your dirty work without me. Say your best when no one can see. So stand up and catch fire with me. Then it sings the chorus about how this kid's not alright. I've been sleeping with these thoughts, man, and I've been contemplating singing them. So stand up and catch fire with me. 'Cause you can follow them to hell, referring to what I said about Glenn Beck saying that people just decide not to follow the lemmings over the cliff. They don't choose to become heroes. They choose not to follow everyone else to hell. I'm scared I may be right. You can follow them to hell. You can follow them to hell. Or you can fly, fly, baby, let's fly. Fly, fly, baby, don't cry. And don't you worry, 'cause everybody will die. That's from his song, Kill Your Heroes, because of the solar flares in the weather report from the song, Like People Like Plastic. You think AWOL knows what the fuck's coming? Yeah, he does. And you can follow them to hell, or you can stand tall and catch fire with me. You don't want to be that guy. I told you this is how an angel cries. That's another song by AWOL. Sail, this is how I show my love. And you don't want to be here when the teardrops start to fall. That's what I told you on the way out to Missouri when I told you that this reset is happening before anyone had ever heard of the Great Reset. And this is how an angel cries. This is how I show my love. Blame it on my own sick pride. What do you blame it on? Your ADD? Because you can't pay attention and don't have the ability to see what I see. You assume that I don't either. You project onto me your own level of perception, your own attention deficit disorder. I don't have that disorder. And maybe I'm a different breed. Maybe I'm not listening. Or you can follow them to hell. And it sings you can follow them to hell a few more times. And then follows up with the chorus, this kid's not all right. And then starts in again down here, you can follow them to hell. Remember, AWOL also sings Soul Wars. 1, 2, 3, do you love me? Watch me scream, burning on the trees in amazement, 'cause I'm on fire. And he also sings, burn it down, baby, burn it down. Burn it down, baby, burn it down. While he's on trial for having a guilty, filthy soul. And how it's only gonna be a matter of time before we start to lose our minds. We're leaving all the haters behind before the sun decides to hide. And one day the sun will leave us all behind. Unexplainable sightings in the sky. And I hate to be the one to ruin the night. Right before your eyes. I say you kill your heroes and fly, fly, baby, don't cry. Don't you worry, 'cause everybody will die. Every day you just go, go, baby, don't go. Don't you worry, we love you more than you know. 1, 2, 3, do you love me? Watch me scream, burning on the trees in amazement, 'cause I'm on fire. 4, 5, 6, show you all my tricks. Fee, fi, fo, a giant's at the door in amazement, 'cause I'm on fire. Can I get a amen for all the bleeding and the praying? I had to struggle to be gracious. Now we can touch it, we can taste it. Can I get a little amen? No more running from the hangman. Now I'm the pilot of this spaceship. So you can touch it, you can taste it. Taste the smoke. Taste the smoke. Taste the smoke. Taste the smoke. This is no joke. 15 years, blood, sweat, and tears in amazement. 'Cause I'm on fire. And it's a cruel, cruel world for good boys and girls. A hot day in heaven, 5, 6, and 7 in amazement. 'Cause I'm on fire with no hope from the devil. Can I get an amen for all the bleeding and the praying? I had to struggle to be gracious. Now we can touch it, we can taste it. Can I get a little amen? No more running from the hangman. Now I'm the pilot of this spaceship. Now you can touch it, you can taste it. Yeah, it'll be okay, baby. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. We don't run, run, run. We don't run, run. Can I get a little amen for all the bleeding and the praying? I had to struggle to be gracious. Now we can touch it, we can taste it. Can I get a little amen? There'll be no more running from the hangman. Now I'm the pilot of this spaceship. So you can touch it, you can taste it. And we don't run, run, run. We don't run, run. Wake up! Well, it's nice to meet you. Do you have a name? 'Cause I would like to teach you, baby. And if it's unfamiliar, when the sharks are swimming, we will watch them kill you, baby. I'm a little shocked 'cause I can see the future looking through your eyes. Don't fall asleep, don't you fall. It's only gonna take a little time before we start to lose our minds. We're leaving all the haters behind before the sun decides to hide. I know you think I may be out of line. I'm scared to love what we love most, but it's only gonna take a little time before we start to lose our minds. Well, it's nice to know you. Have you learned to fly? 'Cause I would like to show you, baby. Like in the song, kill your heroes. Fly, fly, baby, let's fly. I'm afraid to hide 'cause I can live today before I say goodbye. Oh, you mean like either let me fly or give me death. Let my soul rest, take my breath. 'Cause if I don't fly, I'm gonna die anyway. And I'm gonna live on, so I'll say goodbye any day. You getting it? Before the sun decides to hide, we're leaving all the haters behind. Getting it? Take some time to breathe. Let's take some time to breathe. From the desert to the sea, it's the same for you and me. And he talks about we need to breathe out. That's a big exhale that Mother Nature's about to do. When you say you'd rather bleed, is it really what you're thinking? Let's take some time to breathe out. Yeah. Wake up. That was the final words in Madonna's performance with Quavo at the Eurovision performance. Wake up. That was her final words in the song where it says, not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone is learning from the past. Not everyone can come into the future. Not everyone that's here is going to last. Well, I met an old man dying on a train. No more destination, no more pain. And he said one thing before I graduate Earth School. Never let your fear decide your fate. I say you kill your heroes and fly, fly, baby, don't cry. No need to worry 'cause everybody will die. And every day we just go, go, baby, don't go. And don't you worry, we love you more than you know. Well, the sun one day will leave us all behind. Unexplainable sightings in the sky. Well, I hate to be the one to ruin the night. Right before your eyes. And I say you kill your heroes and fly, fly, baby, don't cry. No need to worry 'cause everybody will die. And every day we just go, go, baby, don't go. And don't you worry, we love you more than you know. Get it? I've shown you before how he has these plasma bands around the light source behind him coming from the window. Same plasma bands I've shown you around the sun tunnel. And he gets abducted by aliens in this official music video. Sail, sail with me into the dark. Sail with me into the dark. And everyone will be singing, maybe I should cry for help. And maybe I should kill myself. And just blame it on my ADD, baby. Well, this is how I show my love. I made it in my mind because I blame it on my ADD, baby. I think that lyric is misrepresented. This is how an angel cries. I blame it on my own sick pride. And I told you, you don't want to be here when the teardrops start to fall and there is a storm coming. And I told you that a long time ago. I was prepared for this storm through a retrocausal training and development process that I've been through. And that's why I'm able to speak the way I do about the things that I speak of. So sail with me into the dark. Sail with me into the dark.